Ladies and gentlemen, because they're so few and far between, a good Western is quite enjoyable. A few years back, there was a Western put out starring Kurt Russell, which was, I think, exceptionally good. It was called Bone Tomahawk. And it was a Western that was actually mixed with a lot of Indian folklore and a little bit of the weird in it. And all three elements combining made this movie quite enjoyable. The movie, I don't think, ever received the recognition it deserved for being a quality film. Now, having said that, the moneymen behind Bone Tomahawk have gone out to the good old West once again and produced a Western, which is tonight's lesson plan. Do their endeavors meet the standards set by Bone Tomahawk? We'll find out as cinematic class is about to begin, and your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, another sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies, and tonight's lesson plan is a movie called Frontier Crucible, and it's from the folks at Well Go USA Entertainment. Santa Rosa, the town, is stricken with a severe fever. They are in dire need of medical supplies. But in order to deliver the supplies from the fort to the town, one must cross Apache territory. You know, there's only one man who can really do this successfully, and that man is Merrick Beckford. So he is dispatched by Major O'Rourke from the fort to deliver the medical supplies to Santa Rosa. But along the way, he encounters a rather motley crew who have been attacked by the Apache. And strangely enough, they are not all quite what they seem to be. They are in dire straits, however, and they plead with Beckford to help them along the way. However, their way is in dire contrast to where Beckford is going. This then creates a bitter conflict.
People need medical supplies down south, and you know how to navigate the Apache. You could do it, alone, unaccompanied.
I'll be on my way inside him now. Ambushed by Apache?
Yeah. Help us out. We'd be beholden. Where do you plan to go?
South.
You'd never survive going that way. Ain't nothing but hostiles.
There's a fever epidemic. And that wagon's carrying medicine.
It's simple, friend. Go north, stay alive. We will commandeer that army vehicle if you don't oblige us.
Don't threaten me.
We can't go in that direction.
I'll do what I have to do.
Did he bite you?
No, he's trying to run away.
You killed an Apache. I wish I'll see how bravely you die.
I must tell you that in front of the camera, there's a nice collection of stars for this movie. Merrick Beckford, our protagonist, is played by Miles Clohessy. Miles has an extensive resume for TV, and they're obviously a different medium, so the acting chops for TV are a lot different than film. And I think it shows in this movie. Miles is a little bit weak as the lead. His character uh, attempts to mimic Clint Eastwood back in his old, spaghetti day westerns. Um, he's got the hat, he's chewing on the cheroot. The only thing missing is the traditional poncho, I guess. But other than that, his mannerisms, his moves, his phraseology, all is kind of a almost a spoof on Clint Eastwood's portrayals, and it takes a while in this movie to get used to his character, and I don't think he quite pulls off that strong top uh, protagonist role. His counterpart, the antagonist, is played by Thomas Jane. He plays Mule. Thomas Jane is a solid actor, and although most of his roles as of late have been in what we would call like independent or slot B type movies, still he always puts forth a pretty good role. Ryan Mason is Mule's son Billy, and he was last seen in last year's movie called Last Stop in Yuma County, and this was without doubt one of the best movies of that year. One of the other bad guys in this is Army Hammer. He plays Edmund. I don't think I need to go into Army's trials and tribulations in real life. He has certainly made some interesting headlines, has he not? But he's back in the movies, and he's back in this one, and he's kind of playing a sleazeball. So I guess, given what's been going down, I guess this is rather appropriate. Mary Stickley makes her film debut in this as Valerie. She is one of the travelers who has been attacked by the Apache, and her husband rather, is Eli Brown. Also in this is Zane Holtz. You will recognize him from the TV series From Dusk to Dawn. Eddie Spears is in this. You will recognize him from the TV series Yellowstone. And finally, Major O'Rourke is played by William H. Macy, another good quality actor. Obviously, in this, he just dispatches Miles on his journey, so he has basically an extended cameo. Behind the camera is where this movie runs into a little bit of problem. Cinematography is handled by Maxime Alexandre, stalwart in the industry, not known for major big films, but certainly a fine work in the independent and the second class film shooting. Editor was Jared Bentley, and Jared has some problems here. First off, this movie is entirely too long. It runs just a little over 2 hours, and that's a no-no. Not for this kind of story, which is a simple, easy to tell story. No, it doesn't need to be this long. Easily 35 minutes could have been trimmed from this movie, and the pace is plodding. Think of it as, since it's a western, a horse. Okay, you can put your horse into a nice little trot and gallop and make up some distance, or you can kind of just mosey with the horse and get to the destination several days later. This is a mosey. Okay, the pacing on this is very very slow, and in fact, it's so slow you can see a lot of what's coming long before it does. The entire thing was helmed and directed by Travis Mills. It is based on the novel Desert Stakeout by Harry Whittington. Okay, so in conclusion for this movie, Frontier Crucible, this movie is not as solid as their first endeavor, bone tomahawk. And even though it's very slow in pacing, by the time the Apaches actually show up, this movie turns rather ridiculous. They go through the Frontier Crucible, okay? And the Crucible is a type of test that the Apaches put on people to see if they're worthy to pass through their territory. All right? No matter what the trial is, these Indians are not satisfied, okay? So trial number one will rip off your arm and see if you don't scream. You guys screams. Oh, Apache children could have had both their arms and legs torn off and they still wouldn't have screamed, you know. The other guy, we'll take out his eye. He screams. Apache men would not have screamed if they go. Oh my God, you know, you start hearing the stuff going, well, wait a minute. These are not noble savages. These people are idiots. You know, it's such a bad picture of the Apaches, and naturally, nothing the white people can do meets their Indian standards, which is probably why we needed to run them off the land and everything to begin with. So it's just wow. It becomes comical, but they do have to set that up for the final reel where they explain everything. The movie supposed to take place in Arizona in 1872, and in order to capture the aura, they film in Prescott, Arizona. Prescott and I go back a long way. In fact, it wasn't too long ago I almost became king of Prescott. Cup of coffee and a cheeseburger, and I'll tell you that story. The name of the movie is Frontier Crucible. We're going to give it an average grade. It's okay. It just gets really dumb once the Indians show up for the conflict. And now that you have learned what you have learned, the end of